go. You join me outside, where I am very scared of the water.
That's the skylight from the galley, and that's the skylight from the mess room. And they're the two water tanks. Obviously, one for the toilet, one for fresh water. The engineers pump them up every day. This is the exhaust from that cruise cabin from the heater.
Yeah.
These are ventilators. But you open them up and it just lets fresh air in.
Very cramped in that course.
This is all, I mean, there would have been a sail up here originally. This is a mizzen mast, and there would have been a mizzen sail, but that only helps keep her up. But that's the derrick, and that's just to lift the lifeboat into the water. Two inflatable life rafts.
So if the boat was needed, can it still physically work?
Oh, no.
Is it completely...
It's a dead ship.
It's a dead ship.
This is called a hydrostatic release. So if this ship sinks and you can't get to your life rafts in time, when the ship goes down about 20 or so many feet, these will automatically release the life rafts to the surface.
That is cool.
I say, all merchant ships fly the red ensign. All ensigns come from originally from the Royal Navy. When you had the Battle of Trafalgar, they were squadron flags. You had the red squadron, the white squadron, the blue squadron. Later on, the Merchant Navy adopted the Royal Navy adopted the white ensign. The Merchant Navy adopted the red ensign, and the blue ensign is for anything that's government customs and that. But originally, they were all Royal Navy squadron flags.
This is so cool. Perfect. I'm coming.
I'll show you this picture here.
My little sea legs.
This is the Lady Eva. It's in the same trust. She went down to Lyme Regis early last year, about October, November. Walt Disney make the new Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. They used her as a backdrop. So when that's released this year, she'll be on that.
Oh, I'm going to have to watch that then.
I'll give you one of them. So that's the Lady Eva. That's in Yarmouth. That's a steam drifter, that one.
Oh, okay.
That's open to the public as well.
Is it really? Oh, wow.
So this is your main working deck here. Now, this is where all the action used to happen. That's your main big trawl winch.
That
You had over 1,000-foot wire on each other. They call them warps. Obviously, you got your builder's pack, Brook Marines, 1962.
What's the tradition of breaking the bottle on a boat?
That's just a.
Is that just for
good luck, really?
Just a good luck? Does it work?
I hope so. I've never sank. These were put on later on when it's an all-rig standby boat, but the original fish hatch, where the fish went down, was just that bit. So you had one hatch here, one underneath there, and all three hatches were exactly the same as that. Low hatches with canvas covers. That's where they loaded 20 ton of ice down that one. That's called a whaleback. It's a general stowage area.
Don't want to be in the crow's nest. That's way too scary.
These are the parents. They would have been out as far as those yellow bits originally. And this is called the cod end. That's the end of the net where the fish are in. There's a special knot under there. You pull that, all the fish come out and they'll stay in these two areas. So what you do then, you take the guts out of the fish, as the seagulls are happy, wash them in the tub, put them in the basket and lower them down below.
I'm sure one couple of cheeky seagulls probably managed to nick some of them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they have all the old stuff, so they will be happy. Saying these are your trawl doors or otter boards, and that's your gallows.
Oh, it's such heavy work, isn't it?
Those big rubber rollers over the outside, they're called bobbins, and they roll on. They're on the bottom of the net, and they roll along the seabed. You've got it all. This is how the net is displayed. That's your big trawl boards going down to, and then that's your cod end with the fish. So you normally keep on these. You keep to a 4-hour trawl. Don't do any longer. There's a lot of debris on the seabed, a lot of weed.
Yeah, you'll end up just getting a net full of nothing.
Weed. They used to get horrible weed rash up their hands as well. That was horrendous.
So what was the most popular fish around here then?
Would have been plaice.
Lowestoft?
Lowestoft was the biggest flatfish port in the UK, so bulk of the fish coming from the North Sea would be plaice. All your cod come from Iceland, and they're on the big Hull, Fleetwood and Grimsby trawlers. They went to sea for 3 weeks at a time.
I've never eaten plaice or cod before.
That's all right. Cod is that's the most staple of British fish, isn't it?
Never eaten plaice or cod before.
Yeah. when these wires come off, that they had a 1,000-foot wire on each drum called a warp. That wire would come off that side, round that lead, onto there, and that's attached to this
Wow.
board. And this wire here on this side comes around here, round there, round that back, all the way down after and attached to the afterboard.
Lots of hazards.
The bulk of this net was manhandled. They literally pulled it in by hand. This is the only bit they really lifted on board with the actual derrick.
Wow.
But when you go down below, say it's this is a lovely wooden deck under here. Unfortunately, when they went to standby, they put paint on, would destroyed the deck. But they used to scrub it. It was all,
Yeah, it was a proper polished.
Teak. Yeah, or not varnish. It was just left white, but it was teak.
Oh, it's a shame, but I guess it's by the sea consistently now. You've got to try and save it.
The water's gone underneath the paint and just rotted the
And
deck.
bubbled it, yeah. Bit like my door. Bit like my house. Right. I'm going to put you in my pocket.
I managed to sit on my other one the other week and smash the screen on that.
No, this is a new phone.
I thought everybody's got their phones in their back pocket. First, only time I put mine in the back pocket, sat down and broke the screen.
No, I just edit it when I get home and cut the parts out where I'm trying to save myself.
Yeah, this level was put on when it was a standby boat, but the fish holders from that level went through to the forward end. And these are the drifters that went after the heron. So this is a drift net, and that could be anything from a mile long. And just see how the herons swim on the surface, so the net only goes down about 2 meters. And that's obviously a drifter. And these are the Scottish fishing girls. I don't know if you've ever been to the museum in Yarmouth called the Time and Tide.
Yes,
Yes,
I have been to that one.
Well,
I've been to that one.
Yeah.
I've been to quite a few of the like fish ones up and down the country.
There's a lovely museum here for you, John. So it's right up the Sparrow's Nest. I'll give you the doodah for that.
Yeah.
But that's well worth a visit.
Yeah, I've got a few days in Yarmouth and the surrounding areas. I've been to Hemsby so far, and then it was either Lowestoft or Galston, and I came here.
When you're pulling this net in, there's a big roller there. You just literally pull that net in by hand, shake it. The heron fall in, and you just put them straight down in that hole.
Was it all just men primarily?
Oh, yeah, 50 years in the merchant. I've never seen a female on deck.
No?
No.
Wow. Is any reason for that, or is it just because
it was
of
manual
labour? Yeah.
I mean, when the Scottish boats, they track the heron first. So the girls, they just come down the coast. So they stay ashore.
And then they sort the fish and all that.
They just follow the fleet.
Oh, so they were still in the fishing industry, but boat work primarily was men. I don't blame
there is
them.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
It does look, pulling the ropes and moving
That's
everything.
It shows you the lads pulling that net in.
That must take some. Bless them. Such a shame.
Yeah. And these are just showing you some. This one was on the way to be scrapped, and that ran the ground off over. They actually kind of. And this one.
Cut it up on. Do they cut it up on the beach in the end?
Yeah, in the end. This one is on close standby. So this is called a jack-up rig. It hit the leg and sank just beside the rig.
So I guess they just let them.
Let
them sink.
Yeah, they would. If it was a obstruction to the pipeline, then they would move it, but they wouldn't bother bringing it on the surface. It's just too expensive.
It's amazing how many boats are probably within
the
water.
Yeah. I took that photograph in the 80s to show how busy the port was in that period.
So it really was. Yeah. Really has gone to.
Yeah, those big structures over there. These are modules for the oil rig. That's called SLP ship.
So what's the reason we're just not doing it anymore?
Well, there's no more modules being built. They did build a big substation for the offshore wind turbines, but unfortunately it tendered for the second one, and that went to Spain, so that was the end of it. The module is the top section. The bottom section of a platform is called a jacket, and that's what they used to build. These are the top section called the modules. So that's all the hotel block, hotel accommodation block, or crew accommodation. Then you've got your drilling section, then there's the pipe section.
Wow.
That's a typical Lowestoft fishing smack. We had the Excelsior sail from here. You can do day trips on there. She's just done her last trip.
Wow.
If you look on the line on the Excelsior Trust, they say exactly the same as that. You can do a day trip on it, or it takes students and young children across to Holland everywhere.
Wow.
It's all hands on as well on that. You pull up the sails, and that's quite good.
And
that's the engine where it's on the engine on the ship, because it was built in Lowestoft, is actually is run up on the test bed before it's delivered to the ship. And these were the last ships ever. These are called the beam trawlers, the last ships to ever work out there and stuff. These are some of the Lowestoft skippers. Most of these have departed us now, most of them are gone, but Jimmy Williams is still with us. He's one of our volunteers, but they were skippers. When you left school at 15, you started work at 15 on these, you had to go to Lowestoft Navigation School for 3 months. How it works, you do 2 weeks at the college to start, then they send you on an observation trip for 2 weeks, and that gives you insight into the industry. And if you stayed, you went back to Lowestoft College for 2 months, then you got classed as a decky learner.
A lot of people.
Oh, thousands of people employed in the fishing industry. They were all these lads and that. I mean, they're obviously their fathers, uncles. Everybody was related to the fishing.
So
industry.
more people joined the fishing industry because it was family.
Yeah, family that wise. And then there were shipyards here, so people whose dad was a welder or that you'd go on the shipyard. This was the most famous skipper, Lowestoft, Jumbo Fisk. He was the top skipper in Lowestoft.
And that was because he got the most fish? Or?
Yeah, he won the Premier Trophy and several trophies and that.
Trophies for fish catching?
Well, you had it for the heron. It was called the Premier Trophy.
Okay.
Yeah, I just...
So for fishing?
I took a photograph. This is the Premier Trophy. And that was...
Oh, that is so cool.
Well, that's a
I like how it's all... Wow.
But that was presented to the highest catcher of the heron at the end of the year.
Lovely.
And that was me when I was 15. I was in navigation school. That was in 1963.
Wow, so you sort of stayed with the ship then?
Oh, I stayed in the Merchant Navy.
Yeah.
Then I went, that's the main Merchant Navy training school. That's called the Vindicatrix. That was down in Gloucester, near Sharpness. I went from here at 15 straight to Gloucester and finished my Merchant Navy training. And these are just, that's a sturgeon.
I don't know much about fish, not eating it.
That's the one with the caviar come from. So basically, if you catch a sturgeon, you're supposed to offer that to the king or within the queen. But that's where you get caviar. Very rare you catch them in the North Sea. When the ships come in at night time, the crew would leave. And the lads who land the fish called lumpers, and all the fish is laid up on the seafront, on the market,
Sorry?
And then it's auctioned off about 6 in the morning.
Are there still things as fish markets
There's
around
no fishing
anymore?
here. Most of it's down Brixham and places like that.
So there are still places that do.
Yeah,
sort of like.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
These are most of us famous for their. They don't like that word dandies, but they were famous for their like Teddy Boy suits.
Teddy boys.
Yeah.
That's what I know them. I never heard the word dandies. I knew Teddy boys.
No, they get annoyed and they show you where you come down here. But this is the fish hole from this level right through to the far end. This is another picture of the lads in their multicoloured suits and that.
Oh, I knew Teddy boy description. I'd never heard of dandies before.
This is the last trawler ever to be built for Lowestoft. That's the St Anthony.
So what happened to the rest? Were they just
they got sold off. Half of them went to
off?
Holland and the other half would have gone across the...
So Europe still has a big fishing
Dutch have a
thing.
massive fishing fleet, yeah. This is one was having engine repairs and the gallows where the trawlers are caught under the quay at low water. The ship came up. I took this photo. Ship came up and flooded the engine room.
So once a boat starts to sink, they
didn't sink.
basically
It was on the bottom, but because the gallows where the trawl was on caught under the quay and the tide come up and forced the ship over. They had a big hatch on the side open and the water flooded into
So
it.
once boats start to sink, they just let them go. They don't try and stop them.
No, you can't
It's
stop.
a goodbye.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. This is a model of this one. That's a beautiful model. The shipyard that built these for the US Navy. That's the USS Brunswick. That was me in '73 when I was on that. Got the US ID off. These are salvage operation vessels for the American Navy. They built 3 here, and that was USS and TS3. That was the last one, ATS3. So basically, these are the pounds here. These boxes would have been all the way up the deck, both sides. What happens is you bring loads of baskets full of ice, and you start here, put 6 inches of ice, then fish, then ice, then fish, then ice, then fish, then ice. Then you put your boards in halfway up so you're not compact, and that's how they're laid out inside. And then start again, ice fish, ice fish. And then you keep your place here, cod somewhere else, because obviously you're catching other species of fish.
Yeah. If it's not on your list of what you're meant to be catching, do you just throw it back?
The old days they used to set aside, they would throw them back. But in those days, no, everything. If it was a fair size,
If it
you
was
get
a fish,
everything.
you kept it.
Yeah. See, this is just start. This is how the fish was laid up. If you want to sit down, this goes on for about 15 minutes, but it's well worth watching. But their catch rates keep on rising as trawling gets more and more efficient. Yeah, seagulls are happy these days.
I do love a seagull.
This old lady's been in service just 4 years. So this is only a start. It's about 15 minutes, so it's well. That was the best company in Lowestoft. That was called Suffolk and Smalls. This is the oldie of the fishing fleet, and that's the waiters and fishing. There's always something needs doing. Welding deck gear, servicing machinery and engines, replacing worn-out nets. You've got a lot of editing to do.
That's fine. I've got plenty of time off work to do it.
Took up to 14,000 gallons of fuel oil. She used a ton of diesel a day, this the rest when it's steaming. So you think a modern liner would use about 150 tonne of fuel a day. This is the ice factory where the ice was made. That's just really
Wow.
Enough to feed 10 hungry, thirsty men. And you'll leave you now to sit and watch that.
Thank you. Wow.
Not so long ago, men went fishing because their fathers had been fishermen. They lived in close-knit communities and worked out of their home ports. All that's changed. Now, fishermen come from practically everywhere. The bright new housing estates, outlying villages, even towns and cities miles from the sea. There's boys straight out of school, and young men with families to support. Some have tried all sorts of different jobs before they found out what they were missing. Others have always known what they wanted, and have got the drive and ambition to make something of themselves. There's no use pretending it's an easy life. So what brings them all to trawling? More than that, what keeps them at it? There's probably as many reasons as there are trawlermen. Perhaps it's one of the few ways left to find a bit of adventure. Even for older, more hardened men, it remains a challenge. Very soon, these men will exchange the petty restrictions of shore life for the freedom of the sea. Every trip is different. That's right. They never know what the fishing will bring or how much it will stretch them. And coming home is always something to look forward to. Steaming out to the fishing grounds is the slackest part of the trip. And where the skipper's going to try his luck, it could take 4 hours or 40. And that's good fishing time wasted. So he wants all the engine speed he can get. Meanwhile, the deck gear is got ready for fishing. And the ship becomes a factory. There was a time when no one cared much how a youngster left his job. He picked things up as he went along. Bad habits, as well as good ones.
As you can see, this is a fully working trawler.
Untrained, and not so well paid either. Many were even unfit to go to sea. Now you're fit only if the doctor says you are.
And it's not always enough just to be healthy. No point, for instance, hoping to become a skipper if you're colourblind.
Being colourblind wouldn't help you because of the flags and everything else. Good eyesight.
Another thing that's new is pre-sea training.
That's the compass from earlier that we saw on the, I guess you could call it the poop deck. And then they learn to tie knots.
But it will teach the things you ought to know before you make your first sea trip.
As the guy shoot earlier, you go to like an academy where they show you the ship and the workings and that before you fully decide to actually join.
Grabbing hold of this, look at the shape. And that first trip is the most important you'll ever make.
Yeah, you'll either love it or hate it.
John Clark is a newborn. It's his chance to see for himself what it's about.
And most importantly, making your tea.
On the deck and
Keeping yourself warm, obviously, with cups of tea.
for a young lad to find out if he's really cut out for fishing. Biscuit?
Yes, there you go. Right. Now you come take the wheel. It's early, you know.
There you go. Now he's getting to steer the boat using the compass that we saw earlier, which was above.
You've done your observation trip and you're sure you want to go on, but your real training begins.
And what do you make it? 149, sir. 149. Why did he choose that one, not one of the other two numbers? So that picture rings are true numbers, didn't you?
I'd like you to tell me what they are. For instance, what is that one? Alan?
Lane we're picking up telegraph cable.
Right, jolly good. Now, Peter.
Vessel not under command.
Rules of the road. Navigation lights. Boxing the compass. What have they got to do with catching fish? Not much if all you want to be is casual labour. But everything if you want to make trawling your profession.
Now here we see the two air masses coming together. One from the north and one from the south. These two masses just won't mix.
You won't need to use all the things you learn. But there's no sense in not being fully prepared. Lifeboat drill. Most fishermen take it seriously nowadays. But it helps even more when you know what to do if you ever have to jump for it. At least once in your training, you'll feel the stink of cold sea water.
Oh,
With a lifeboat and without.
but that brings up with and without a life jacket, just in case you don't have time to get a life jacket.
It's not so easy, even in calm weather.
When a boat sinks, you don't necessarily have a lot of time.
Fire's another hazard.
I've actually used a hose pipe before, would you believe? I've actually used a hose pipe from a fire engine. Obviously, it's a bit different. But I've actually used a hose from the Royal Norfolk Fire Museum. There you go, look.
Towing now. That's when a trawler begins to earn its keep.
Getting all that
Inside
prime
trawling,
fish.
the warps are nearly always run out on the starboard side. But the only time you'll ever see how the trawl works is in the classroom.
The angle of the trawl is controlled by the doors of outer boards. You'll notice the big wheels, which are turning round now, are called bobbins, which run over the top of any overall length of the square.
Not as easy as just getting a net and throwing it in the sea, huh?
As the long wing, practice and theory. Network takes up a large part of training, and so it ought.
It's very
you may not be
in-depth.
much good at written work and drawing diagrams. What matters is whether you've got the picture. All hands on deck for hauling. Once every 2 or 3 hours, wet or fine, night and day, the bell calls you out. Nothing except the worst of weather stops the fishing. 300 meters of water taken in before the otter boards break the surface. When you're handling trawl gear, you learn to have a quick eye and move fast. You'll get plenty of practice both stern hauling and over the side.
Screw down on the ground. Stand by your right hand. Both your right hands in ready for you.
A couple of... and the heavy net is drawn into the side. But getting the slack inboard has to be done by hand.
Pull it back to your ovens, pull it back there.
You can't introduce everything in that room. The wet or the cold or the heaving deck. You can get pretty close to the big thing.
Hold in right steady. Come on. There's a ton of fishing around for you. Keep pulling. That's the stuff again.
There's some of the bits from earlier. And here comes the fish. That was what we saw earlier when we were up on deck. He said about wrapping the ropes around upstairs, and then you bring the fish net in using all the ropes that he said about that were upstairs, like the ropes that were wrapped. And there it goes. All the fish.
Well, the net on the bottom, there's plenty can snag and tear holes in it.
Mm.
Sometimes all you have to show after hours of towing is a split net and no fish.
And then there we go.
Shoot the net again, you have to get busy
Lots
with
of
needle and
fish.
twine.
Needle and twine.
Needles go around in your hand. Tie your wrist from side to side. If you're tying your nail, you couldn't tie it.
You start by learning how to fill a needle. Then calculate the number of meshes to be made good.
Now count your pickups. You got 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There, look.
There you go. That makes your nets, look. Then you can fix your nets.
Things have come a long way since the old days. In their 12-week short training, lads of 16 or so can now do what many fishermen took years to learn. After another 9 months spent going to sea, a trainee qualifies as a fully fledged deckhand. It's the first step on the ladder of promotion. It leads first to a third hand's ticket, then to mate, and finally, skipper. If you've got what it takes, you can make it to the top by the time you're 24. Compare.
How cool is that? Your fancy? Would you have wanted to be a fisherman? Let me know.
In both the science of fishing and
It has a northerly declination, gradually increasing all the time as the year goes on.
What's the value of the declination is zero? Do you make any difference what?
That's a good question. Now, if you look at this, when the sun is
Look at all of that. Very sophisticated being a fisherman. You had to know quite a lot.
I'd like you to tune the transmitter onto 2381 and the receiver into 1792.
Radio with radio.
we tend to think of radio mostly in terms of
And 2381 is the distress signal for all ships.
he uses it for daily contacts with his office as well as other trawlers.
Are you still recording?
Yeah. That all goes with the story.
It is excellent. This is.
All goes with the story. It'll be a multi-part series on my channel.
Catches and when. Another thing makes fishing different from other.
Might not be able to put that bit on YouTube. Why demonetize me for that?
Fixed wage, but it's his poundage that makes the job worthwhile. A bonus of up to 1% of the market price of the catch.
Yeah, we can't put that on there.
The skipper and mate take bigger shares. On an average trip, the mate will reckon on earning as much in a day as many do in a week ashore. One of the mate's main jobs is to supervise stows in the fish room. Bruise it or pack it in too little ice and the fish will spoil. That means lots of earnings for everyone.
There you go. There's the ice from earlier, where they pack it in the ice to keep it fresh.
Teamwork. That's what fishing's all about.
There's the
It makes for trust.
gallows,
Companionship.
cook, gallows,
And the galley.
kitchen, galley,
So we make
where we went earlier.
the cook just as much part of the team. The work can be hard, but the hours are safe. 3 square meals a day and he's off duty.
Is the cook paid the same as the fisher trawlers?
Well, there would be some difference, like wages on variation in wages.
There you go. Obviously the
That's the
captain,
captain, that's on bar.
yeah, he still earned the most. Perfect. There you
For
go.
anyone who wants to be a marine engineer, trawling's as good a way as any other. He's got to be versatile. Mechanic, fitter, electrician, all rolled into one.
This is a lighting circuit. This is another lighting circuit.
Once he's completed his course, a second engineer can rise in a year or so to chief. Let's see, they split the hours between them. 6 on, 6 off. 2 shifts.
The way defenders in those days.
No, I bet it was horrendous. I'm going to show that most of them got, is it
Yeah,
tinnitus?
here and here, yeah, here.
Day or night. It's all the same in fishing. You work and eat and sleep. Fictitious, monotonous, it can be sometimes. Like most jobs, it's what you make it. For a skipper, it becomes almost an obsession. He's worked his way up from the deck. Now he's the governor, responsible for the lives of men. Boss of a floating commercial enterprise worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. He's never off the bridge for long. His job is to find the fish and stay with them. Sometimes it's just plain luck. Or you can put it down to experience, the kind of know-how that takes years to acquire. Either way, the odds are against you. Only the most sophisticated electronic instruments can help to shorten them. In the mock-up of a modern trawler's wheelhouse, the detailed record of an actual fishing trip is reproduced on ship's instruments.
Let's have a look at this point on the actual equipment on the bridge.
It's the latest training aid for future and practicing skippers to sharpen their powers of detection.
For a band of mid-water marks, the band is nearly 10 fathoms thick. We can't really see which parts of that show.
Echo sounders, fish loops, warp meters, navigators. These are the basic tools of the modern fisherman. Fishing's an increasingly costly business. Competition gets fiercer every year. Keeping up with it is going to need more of the kind of men who can combine up-to-date knowledge with traditional skills.
Yeah, sure. If you're tying up a slow, you can expect.
More too of a new generation of ships.